Hello readers. Today I'm going to teach you how we use our informational books to learn more. So we are learning to use informational books to learn more about our topics. And informational readers can explain and teach others what they learned about their texts. We are getting so smart about our topics. We can teach ourselves using an explaining voice. We can use headings and pictures to help us think about each section of our books. And today I'm going to teach you how to reread and then sketch with more details. So first you're going to sketch a picture based upon the information you remember. Then you're going to go back and reread the text, trying to add more details to your picture based on the rereading that you did. And then you'll repeat it again until you think you have all the important information in your drawing and in your sketch. So I'm going to show you what I mean with the book here that I have called Bees. Okay. Now I'm going to read just this first chapter of the book to show you how you can reread to get more information. So the book is called Bees, and we're going to focus on this first chapter. Chapter 1, Wax Makers. Inside a hive, a honeybee builds a cell. First, a liquid wax forms on its abdomen. It cools into scales. They look like fish scales. You see the label right there at the bottom. The bee removes the scale and passes it to its mouth. It chews and mixes the wax with saliva. Then it adds the soft wax to the cell. It uses its antenna to shape it. Soon it will be a perfect hexagon. You can see the cells. The strong cells fit together perfectly. Some hold honey and pollen. Other cells hold growing young bees. A few thousand honeybees live in a colony. Their hive is made of layers of wax cells called combs. The space between the combs is big enough for 2 bees. This gives them room to work. And there's the comb colony. Here's a fun fact. Did you know? To make honey, bees collect flower nectar. They mix it with an enzyme. It changes the nectar into honey, and honey is an important food source for bees. I like this diagram here of the bee. So it has antenna, thorax, abdomen. Bees are small insect builders. Like all insects, they have a head, thorax, and abdomen. They also have 6 legs and 4 wings. 2 antennae help bees sense things. They use their strong jaws to chew. Both help bees build. Did you know? Near a hive, you can hear a steady buzz. The hum is made from bees' fast-beating wings. Okay, so that's the first chapter. So now what I'm going to do is stop and picture in my mind some things that I learned from this first chapter. And I'm going to jot them down on a piece of paper. So let me move to our paper we're going to use. And let's make this bigger so we can see it. Okay, so we have big things I learned from nonfiction texts. I can reread and sketch with more details. So the first time I read it, what I did was I noticed that the bee travels to the flower, drinks the nectar, and takes it back to the hive. That was the first thing. But if I go back and reread it, maybe I can find some more details. So let's go into the book again. So here is the bee following and finding that flower, landing on it. And I remember reading on this page how it collects the nectar and mixes it with an enzyme. So that's the first thing I learned. But when I go back and reread some more of this, maybe I can gather some more information. Let me go back to this page. So the bee removes a scale and passes it to its mouth. It chews and mixes the wax with saliva. Then it adds the soft wax to the cell. It uses an antenna to shape it. Soon it will be a perfect hexagon. Well, so now I can see that the bee not only just travels to the flowers, it's helping to make the honeycomb. So I added that. Let me show you how I added that to my information. So right here, more details after I read. We know that the bees travel to the flowers and collect drink the nectar. But then we also know they go back and form these perfect little shapes, hexagon shapes, in the honeycomb. So let's see now if I can get some more details when I go back and reread. I want to capture all the important information. So let's minimize that and go back and look at this other part. The strong cells fit together perfectly. Some hold honey and pollen. Other cells hold growing young bees. A few thousand honeybees live in a colony. Their hive is made of layers of wax cells called combs. The space between the combs is big enough for 2 bees. This gives them room to work. So not only does the bees travel to flowers and drink the nectar and bring it back to make the honeycomb, you can see that this whole large group, a few thousand honeybees, live in a colony. So they live together. So I'm going to add that to my picture and I'll show you what I mean. Let's make it full screen so we can see it, okay? So I started with the bee traveling to the flower, collecting, drinking the nectar, collecting that, and then taking it back to the hive. And then I read again and I noticed that, well, they go to the hive and they make that perfect little hexagon. But then as I read again, even more details after I read, I learned that thousands of honeybees can live together in that one hive. So every time I read the book, I learned a little bit more. So I stopped, pictured in my mind, and did my first sketch. Then I went back and read it again and found even more details after I reread. Then I went back and did it a third time, even more details after I reread. I'm trying to get as much of the details from what I read and what I learned. And my sketch captures all that important information. So now what you're going to do is you're going to try it in your books today. You can use your reader's notebook that's in our Google Classroom and have your 3 sketches. Or if you want to use this particular paper, this will also be in your Google Classroom that you could use. And you can use Post-its like I did if you practice this on more than one book, or if you want to just draw it right on the paper, you could do that too. So for your assignment, you're going to read your nonfiction books. As you know, you have a goal every day to read 60 minutes. It can be Raz Kids or it can be books you have at home. But I want you to choose one where you're going to stop, sketch, reread, sketch again, and then find even some more details after you reread. So I want you to try this process with one book that you choose today, because all the things you can learn when you reread a book, you can see how I did that today with my book. So readers, enjoy your reading today. Everything will be in your Google Classroom, and I will see you soon. Bye.